Off the inside of row 4, that is Kreig Heroth. Here we go, folks. 67 times around, honoring the Ziegler family, the historic Evans Mills Raceway Park, and our feature race is underway. A good jump at the start for the 81 of Finocharrio. Contact right away, and Rygielski gets shuttled to the outside. He comes down low, and we got trouble up there in the turns. Pringle in the number 96. The green flag is still out. The caution did not fly. And they pick it up now as Tony Pettinelli in the second place spot lost a little bit of ground when he had contact with the other driver. And that puts Finocharrio all alone up front. Pettinelli second, Bryan Sherwood running third, Bryce Bailey in the fourth place spot. And Kreig Heroth, we'll see how patient he can be back there in that fifth place spot as he is driving the number 1. Last year's track champion hemmed in right now as they single file him out a little bit for this one. We got a long way to go, and tire management is going to be important for all the cars out there. Chris Finocharrio has been in long races before. Pettinelli moves up fast through the turn. Looked like he might have got a little bit of a push from Bryan Sherwood, and Finocharrio is not getting through the turns as fast as he's getting down the straightaway. That's going to make things interesting as the 2 of Pettinelli and the number 96 of Bryan Sherwood close in. Bryce Bailey and Kreig Heroth in spots 4 and 5, trying to make a 5-car race out of this. Right now it's the top 3. Finocharrio, Pettinelli, Bryan Sherwood. You don't want to race too hard here at the beginning, but at the same time, if they're going to give you the spot, you're going to want to take it. And Jason Rarick down the front straightaway in the number 4 is going to have some company in his rear view very quickly as Finocharrio, Pettinelli, and Bryan Sherwood are closing quickly. Sherwood looks to be getting racy on that outside groove. Pettinelli staying down low in the second place car. There's contact over there, a little bit of an accordion thing. Some Nerf bars were touching, and the rest of the field is starting to catch up to the top 3 cars. Bryce Bailey, Kreig Heroth, the Malone car, the 007 of Randy Brunelle, Taylor Caprara, and Joel Papin. That's your top 10. We got a battle for second place, and Bryan Sherwood and Tony Pettinelli are running side by side as we complete lap number 10.
We got a dogfight at the front of the pack. Here comes Bryan Sherwood to the outside of the 81 of Finocharrio. Into turn number 3, Sherwood is there on the outside. He takes a peek at the lead, down to the stripe, but still the 81 of Finocharrio. They've got lap traffic in front of them. This is going to shake things up here in another lap or 2. Finocharrio to the inside, Sherwood to the outside. Sherwood looking strong in that traction compound. Bryan Sherwood out of turn number 4. We have a new race leader. It's the 95 of Bryan Sherwood on lap number 12. Sherwood goes to point on the outside of Finocharrio. Tony Pettinelli now, got to car around on turn number 3 and 1. Opposite ends of the speedway, we got cars headed the wrong direction. Pace truck will duck off the back stretch. Indeed this time, green flag this time. Pettinelli and Sherwood into the restart zone. Green flag is out, and Sherwood gets a good jump. Pettinelli is there on the outside. Into turn number 1. Sherwood edges ahead, but here comes Pettinelli on the outside. Sherwood drives it deep into turn number 3. He puts a hammer down coming out of turn 4. He's going to clear Pettinelli and lead that lap. Sherwood, Pettinelli, and now Finocharrio will get by on the outside. And here comes Kreig Heroth on the inside, sitting in spot number 3, looking for that second position. Oh, Pettinelli slow, contact down front, all sorts of calamity. Rygielski had checked up. He's got heavy damage. John Ramsey is slow up on turn number 2. Jason Rarick is around in turn 4 again. And Tony Pettinelli looked like something was amiss coming out of 4, kind of stacked up the field behind him. Everybody checked up and eventually ran out of room. And Rygielski and Ramsey are on the short end of that. A little bit, cars start to change. Trek makes a few changes. as well. Let's see what driver is affected the most or the least. And Sherwood now is in control. Sherwood had a tough year last year in 23. He would love nothing more than to get to victory lane tonight. Take home that $1,967. Here they come to the children's home restart zone. Green flag is out and Finocharrio was on it. He's got a half car lead into turn number 1. Here comes Sherwood battling back on the inside. Finocharrio door to door with Sherwood. Down the backstretch into turn 3. They're side by side the first 2 rows. Out of turn number 4. It's going to be Sherwood going to lead this lap. Finocharrio and Heroth. Heroth slides up a little bit, makes slight contact with the 3 of Papin. Sherwood now all alone. Finocharrio holding off Papin and Heroth in that second position. Finocharrio right in the middle of Papin and Heroth. He's going to make them work to take that spot over. That allows Sherwood to pull ahead by a good 6 car lengths. It's Bryan Sherwood now setting the pace on lap number 17. Finocharrio still holding up Heroth and Papin, and they are anxious to get by. Pettinelli riding in that 5th position all by himself. Bryan Sherwood loves to see those cars stacked up. Oh, Papin hard into the wall. Finocharrio makes contact as well. Papin, shower of sparks. And 2 of the fastest cars, just like that, are out of the race. 18 in the books. 49 remain. Bryan Sherwood, your race leader. Kreig Heroth, last week's feature winner, riding to his outside. Pace truck pulls off the backstretch. They head into the children's home restart zone. Dave Farrell has a green flag in hand. And it's out, and a good start by Sherwood on the inside. They head in turn number 1, door to door, side by side. Out of turn number 2, Bryan Sherwood has a half car lead. Now he controls the race. Kreig Heroth tucks in behind him, gives him a little tap, lets him know he's there down the stripe. It's Sherwood. Heroth and Bryce Bailey now. Your top 3. Tony Pettinelli settles in spot number 4. Jeff Pringle making a charge on the outside, back 4 or 5 car deep. 20 laps in, Bryan Sherwood is your race leader. 2 of our premier drivers here at Evans Mills Raceway Park running 1 and 2. Bryan Sherwood up front in the 95. Kreig Heroth in second in the number 1. And a hard charger out of Waverly, New York. Running in the number 3 spot. Bryce Bailey. Tony Pettinelli has held strong, and we got quite a bit of racing out there for spots 6 through 8, 6 through 9, as the 29 of Dylan Bancroft trying to hold off the 721 of Taylor Caprara, and Jeff Pringle is on the outside of the 96. Andre Roggie waiting there in the wings. That's where the race is right now. 6, 7, 8, and 9. Jeff Pringle makes a move to move forward on that outside line as him and Taylor Caprara run side by side through turns 1 and 2. Pringle not losing ground on the outside, but he's not really gaining anything either as the laps continue to click off here in the 67-lap Ziegler Memorial Race. Now Jeff Pringle loses the spot to Taylor Caprara. That gives Andre Roggie in the 03 a chance to get inside of him, and Roggie takes over that 8th place position. Up front, Bryan Sherwood continuing to lead. Kreig Heroth running second. We'll see how long he is content to do that. We've got a long way to go, and both Kreig Heroth and Bryan Sherwood know how to save their tires for later in the race, and they are in a good spot right now, running 1 and 2. Bryce Bailey in the number 3 is not closing any ground and seems to be okay, staying right there. Kaden Rogers putting a little pressure on the number 2 of Tony Pettinelli. Kaden in the number 49. And Kaden Rogers started in the 16th spot, and he has moved up to number 5. Kaden Rogers right now a candidate for that hard charger award, and we got a caution as we got a car into the infield. Looks like Kyle Hart. Caution on lap number 27. And they will wind them down one more time. So Sherwood up front,
Heroth running second. And if you're going to pick two favorites in this race, that is where they are, regardless of where they started. For the 8th place spot, he's on the outside of row number 4 beside Dylan Bancroft. Up front, it's Bryan Sherwood and Kreig Heroth, and the green flag flies. And Kreig Heroth giving a valiant effort to try and stay with him on the outside lane. They're side by side. Kaden Rogers inching ahead of Bryce Bailey. And Rogers looking strong on that outside lane. Kaden Rogers not afraid to run up there. Bryce Bailey on the inside. Rogers on the outside. Tony Pettinelli gets a little bit loose on Taylor Caprara. Looks to be getting around the number 2 of Tony Pettinelli. Andre Roggie, the next guy, trying to move to the outside of the number 2. It continues to be Bailey and Rogers side by side down the front stretch with Taylor Caprara waiting right there. It continues to be Bryan Sherwood up front. Kreig Heroth running second. Kaden Rogers third, and Caprara and Bryce Bailey continue to battle it out 30 laps in.
37 remaining. We got some sparks coming out of the back of the 53 of Joey Clark in the back end of the field. Keep your eye on that one as we move forward. At the front of the field, it's still Bryan Sherwood. He's starting to increase his lead slowly but surely, lap after lap. Kreig Heroth riding in that second position. Rogers and Caprara, third and fourth. At the stripe, it's still Sherwood. Extends his lead up to 4/10 now over the one of Heroth. Single file throughout the field. Tony Pettinelli gets a little bit loose out of turn number 2. Jeff Pringle ducks the inside and takes over that position. Move Pringle up to spot number 8. At the front, Bryan Sherwood still flexing his muscle. Coming out of turn number 4. Completing lap number 34, and he's almost up to a half a second on Heroth. Heroth got a good advantage over the 49 of Rogers. And another 2 or 3 car lengths back to Caprara. Bryce Bailey holding tough in that 8th position, that 8 car in 5th position. He's got company with Andre Roggie all over the back end of that ride. Roggie looking to move up a position. He loves these long races. Oh, we got a car slow and in the grass out of turn number 2. That is Rick Brunelle. He continues to roll. Good driving by the veteran driver out of Malone. But he's right in front of our leader, Sherwood, as he exits turn number 4. Sherwood looking strong as he continues to put down good lap time after good lap time. The top 4 starting to separate themselves a little bit. 3 or 4 car lengths in between each one of those cars. Sherwood starting to close in on the back of Brunelle. Lap traffic may play a factor here in a lap or so. Single file throughout the field. A good battle back here with Tony Pettinelli and Steven Sherwood. That is for 10th. Coming out of turn 4, here's your leader, 40 laps in the book, Bryan Sherwood.
Pouring down fast on lap traffic is Bryan Sherwood in the number 95, looking to go around Rick Brunelle, and that 005 gets around okay. Here comes Kreig Heroth around. This is always a hairy moment when there's lap traffic in the way of the leaders. But they look to be going well. Rick Brunelle's been around the block a few times. He knows how to hold his line as the drivers go by. And we have a nice long green flag run. Tony Pettinelli almost going off the track up there in between turns 1 and 2. He gathers it back in and tries to get down into the racing groove now, but he lost a lot of spots. Matt Sharkey looked like he was going to go to the inside of Pettinelli for a little while, decided to back out of it. Kyle Hart in the number 23 car, in danger of going a lap down. He is running it for all he's worth right now, doesn't want that to happen. Bryan Sherwood and Kreig Heroth are bearing down fast. Kaden Rogers and Taylor Caprara in tow. Andre Roggie. Here we got a caution. We got Tony Pettinelli going around up in turn number 2. Pettinelli sitting on the high side, and the caution flag will fly on lap 44. Down to the inside. And Bryce is running right where he started, on the inside of row 3. And then you've got Dylan Bancroft out of Copenhagen, a guy who likes to win. Running 7th, Randy Brunelle in the 8th spot. Randy having a pretty decent showing after making the toe down from Malone with all 3 cars tonight. Inching ahead is Kreig Heroth, but the green flag flies, and it is Bryan Sherwood to the inside, Heroth on the outside. Taylor Caprara running strong on that outside lane. Kaden Rogers tries to dart forward on the inside now to keep that spot number 3. He might lose it here on the front straightaway. Kreig Heroth gets behind Sherwood, and Heroth settles down into that low lane, but Taylor Caprara continues to run up high, and Caprara looks to have taken over spot number 3. Here comes Andre Roggie in the 0-3. Roggie in the 5th place spot. Moving to the outside of Kaden Rogers. Trying to break into the top 4 is Andre Roggie. They are side by side through the turn. 3 wide behind him, the 29, the 96, the 2 number 96 cars, and Brunelle gets out of shape. And somehow they all miss him. The green flag stays out. Roggie and Kaden Rogers continue to battle for that number 5 spot. And Roggie has not been able to put away the 49 of Kaden Rogers. Bryan Sherwood continues to lead. Kreig Heroth running 2nd, and now Roggie pulls ahead, and Andre Roggie takes over the 4th place spot. He will set up the chase for the 721 of Taylor Caprara. As these laps close down, we've got some drivers that have moved from the mid-pack of the field into the top 5, and they're going to make a race out of it. Roggie knows how to do tire management. He knows how to hit his marks. How far forward can he move? Right on the Nerf bar, the number 721 of Taylor Caprara, and Kaden Rogers is right there waiting. Spots 3, 4, and 5 are Nerf bar to Nerf bar. 50 laps in.
17 remain, and the cream has risen to the top. Your last 3 track champions are running 1, 2, and 3. And you got the marathon man of Andre Roggie riding in that 4th position. He loves these longer races, and he's always a factor when it comes down to it. Bryan Sherwood at the front of the field, now ahead by about 0.4 of a second on the 1 of Heroth. A good gap back to the 721 of Taylor Caprara. He's got company. Andre Roggie to the outside as he continues his march to the front. Andre Roggie trying to get around Sherwood and go to work on the leaders. It is Sherwood down the backstretch, maintaining the race lead over Kreig Heroth. He tucks up about a half a car length off the bottom of the track. And Heroth has not let him get away, but he's running out of laps. And now Andre Roggie is on the back of the 721 of Caprara. Now he looks to the outside, gets his tires in that traction compound. Settles back in behind the veteran driver. Roggie looking for a fast lane around. We've got 55 in and 12 remain. Bryan Sherwood is out. Pettinelli around again in the middle of 1 and 2. There's definitely something amiss on the 2 and Y of Pettinelli. He's had a handful all night long. Feature wins, that is. Taylor Caprara hasn't been to victory lane in over a year. He's hungry for a checkered flag. 12 more circuits to settle the score. Pace truck picks up ahead of steam. Turns the race lead over to Sherwood. They're heading into the children's home restart zone. Green flag in hand. Sherwood on the hammer out of turn number 4. Leads the charge into turn number 1. He's going to exit turn 2 and lead, but here's Heroth ahead of steam now. Into turn number 3, it's still Bryan Sherwood. Heroth hanging tough on the outside, but it's going to be Sherwood leading Taylor Caprara up to 3rd now. Now here comes Andre Roggie to the outside. Move him up to 3rd. This one's not over, folks. Andre Roggie flexing muscle on the outside of the track. He goes to work on the number 1 of Heroth. Bryan Sherwood can see all this happening in his rearview mirror. It's Andre Roggie now marching to the front on the outside of Caprara. And he sees the back of the 1 of Heroth as he works to get around to take over that 3rd position. He has it now. Andre Roggie coming to life in the closing laps. We've got 9 left, make it 8 now at the stripe. Andre Roggie in third position. Keep your eye on him. He might be the fastest car in the lap. He just turned the fastest lap for him this race last time around. He is on a mission. Bryan Sherwood still at the front, took the lead on lap number 12, has yet to give it up. Coming to lap 61, 6 remain. Single file throughout the field. Roggie losing a little ground now to Heroth as the top 3 start to spread themselves out. Bryan Sherwood's got a clean track ahead of him, 62 laps in, 5 remain. 20 more turns for Bryan Sherwood. Kreig Heroth's got to pick up the wick if he wants to get by him. Bryan Sherwood's got those right sides in the traction compound. Kreig Heroth giving everything he's got in the closing laps. This time by will have 3 remaining. At the stripe, it's still Sherwood by 3/10 over Kreig Heroth. Coming to 2 to go, Bryan Sherwood, Kreig Heroth down to the wire. Bryan Sherwood sees the 2 laps to go sign. Kreig Heroth knows his time is now. He steps up to the outside of the track. See if he can get ahead of steam out of turn number 2. Sherwood slams the door. White flag in hand, lap 66. Bryan Sherwood sees it. Kreig Heroth has closed the gap. Bryan Sherwood out of turn number 2 for the final time. Kreig Heroth is knocking on the door. He's turned it up. Final turns, final time, checker flag in hand. Bryan Sherwood, welcome back to Victory Lane. Oh, we got a car around sideways crossing the line. That's a 29 of Bancroft. Bryan Sherwood returns to Victory Lane after a tough 2023 season.
There you go, bud. Bryan Sherwood, certainly a different start. We'll ask him about that than what he had last year at this time. But Kreig Heroth is proving tough. You've got the same 2 drivers finishing 1-2 this week. It's going to be a battle all year long between these 2. Andre Roggie, a tough run, getting all the way to 3rd. A lot of drivers doing a great job moving up through the field. We started with 23. I think we ended with 17. Not bad, especially compared to last week. Longer race, more drivers stayed out. They're getting the hang of it here at Evans Mills Raceway Park. It's not easy to go 67 laps. This guy did it. He's in Victory Lane. Bryan Sherwood coming out of the car. I have a hard time getting out of my passenger car. I don't know how these guys get out of these cars after that many laps. How much different is a 67 than a 35 here at Evans Mills?
Quite a bit. You got to set up the car a little bit different, and luckily with kind of our modified experience, we've got a little bit of knowledge for these longer races, so that certainly helps. And we just tried something a little different than we did a couple weeks ago, and it worked a little better tonight.
Well, you've had a great start. Speaking of last year, we don't want to talk about last year. You're getting real good this year. How's that feel to you?
It feels a lot better. I gotta thank Roger for not giving up on it. We had some motor issues last year, and he's pretty into this, so he really wanted to come back and try to do a good job. And so far we've been hitting it pretty good. We worked on it a lot during the winter, trying to get it a little bit better, and I think tonight might be the best car I've actually ever had up here, so I think we're in good shape.
It sure looked like it. Now, you mentioned your modified, the big block modified. You going to be here July 13th for that big race?
Yeah, we've been kind of nagging Lee a lot to get a modified race here, so we're definitely going to be here. I hope everybody here tonight's going to come for that one. It's going to be a great race. The big block modifieds are a lot of fun to watch, and you're going to get to see a lot of cool guys here that aren't here all the time, and it's going to be a great show.
Any race this guy's in is going to be fun to watch. Bryan Sherwood, your winner of the Ziegler Memorial Race here tonight at Evans Mills Raceway Park. He's going to pull the 50-50 number. That'll be mine that you pull, Brian. I'll share it with you. Hey, I got the right color at least. 683-493. This is for the money. 683-493. 493 is your 50-50 winner tonight. We've got some contingency prizes here, some other prizes, and as soon as we get those tickets, we will read those numbers off. Two more yellow tickets. That's the money one. That's mine right there, Peggy, in case you were wondering. Here we go with the contingency prize. This goes to 683-657, 683-657. Any third prize, 683-515, 683-515. Peggy's getting them right in the right order there. And those are your 50-50 winners tonight. Thank you for everybody who participated. We'll do it all again next week, right here at Evans Mills Raceway Park. And right now, it's victory lane time for Bryan Sherwood.
Congratulations, Bryan Sherwood down there in victory lane. Now he's going to hop on a lawnmower. There you go. Maybe he'll want to make a trade here, lawnmower for race car. On the speedway on the backstretch, we'll see the combined features of our Stewart Shop Sport Compacts and our Phoenix U-Pull U-Save Thunder Stocks. We've got 13 cars. We'll end up getting 2 feature winners out of this. I think Wade was working a deal down there with Bryan. That one fell through, it looks like. Good choice by Bryan. And starting on the pole on the backstretch, that is the 11A of Kevin Greenfield. To his outside, that's the 17 of Chuck Pavelchuk, or the Rabbit on a Mission. Inside of row number 2 is the 17S of Sam Kersey, and to his outside, that's the 28 of Angela Pettinelli. Bridget DeMarge will start in row